everyone, my name is Isaac. Welcome to the AGT GT3 Championship. This is round 4 here at a very, very wet Nurburgring. We're here for all the Lobby C action today, as per usual. Just me this week bringing you all the Lobby C action. Ben is a little bit unwell, so we wish him a speedy recovery and hope he feels better soon. But yeah, so just me today for all the Lobby C action. So without further ado, let's jump into our grid order for today. So we've got L Hedges lining up on pole, closely followed by, well not closely followed by BC Bond. L Hedges significantly quicker than BC Bond, almost a 2-second difference between first and second on the grid today. So L Hedges really loving these wet conditions. B Purton in third, not far off BC Bond, so quite close between the two of them. Stiffy Bone fourth, HC Renegade in fifth, Megan Bacon sixth, Mike Honcho seventh, Unchained Chief in 8th, B McKever 9th, and Speed making his debut in Adrenaline GT this week, coming out of last place. Minimal practice for both those guys at the back, so they'll come out of last. We'll have a look at the track stats now. So 5.1 kilometers of racing around here on a fully wet track with terminal weather difficulty right up almost to the max. We've got 15 turns, 12 laps. There's no mandatory tyres for this race, but there is a compulsory stop. You still have to make, you do have to go through the pit lane, and it'd be preferable for you to take fuel. I think fuel saving in this one all the way to the end, you're going to struggle, so you'd be better off taking fuel and getting to the end safely in this one. So let's jump into all the action. A couple action zones to look for as well. Turn 1, obviously. If you get it wrong, bikes brake slightly too late, you can aquaplane off the track, but it's also a great place to make your overtaking moves if you're so brave enough. Another place you can look for is the Dunlop curve down the bottom of the circuit. Definitely a great place to make a move if you can set yourself up for such a move into that corner, and also into that final chicane complex, turns 13 and 14. You could easily find yourself making a move into that corner, which are those corners, and setting yourself up for a run out of the last corner, the Coca-Cola curve, and down the front straight back towards turn 1 again. So a lot of action here. We're going to jump into it now. We can't wait for it. This is Lobby C. Let's jump into the race. Here we go then. We're getting ready to go. The lights are out and we are away for this one here at the Nurburgring. And they get off to a brilliant start. El Hedge is going to lead them down to turn 1. A wonderful start from him. Obviously had the pace in qualifying. Everyone's sort of trying to keep it clean through turn 1. We've got a couple cars side by side. That's Stiffy Bone going wide already into the grass. Same with Unchained Chief and Mike Honcho. So a few cars are bowling it wide down at turn 1 already. But other than that, everyone seems to be keeping it clean. HC Renegade going to make him bacon. They look to make a move here. Not quite. But everyone keeping it fairly clean so far in this one. Everyone just slowly trudging around this circuit, trying to find any sort of grip they can in this wet. Cold tyres at the start. We saw the same thing in Lobby B. Cold tyres at the start of the race makes it easier for you to make a mistake. And B McKever, who started 9th, finds himself up in 6th by virtue of just keeping it clean at the start of this one. And that's Stiffy Bone bowling it wide again. So struggle street early on here for Stiffy Bone. Not really meshing with these wet conditions as much as some of the other cars are. And just wanted to get a bit of temperature in those tyres. Build himself up as B Purton goes past BC Bond and finds himself into second. So the PH Racing cars, the beautifully presented PH Racing cars, find themselves 1 and 2. A bit loose there from B Purton. Oh, he's power sliding right through the Schumacher S's. And just looking to get comfortable in the car, find a little bit of grip where he can, and get himself into a rhythm. Making Bacon still right on the back of HC Renegade there. And that is Unchained Chief bowling it a little bit wide. Speed's going to have a look around the outside in the Ferrari. Obviously the Ferrari, a rear-engined, rear-wheel drive car, so has a lot of grip in the wet because all the weight is at the rear end where those rear tyres are. So pushing the tyres into the ground makes for a lot more grip. A lot of the front engine cars will struggle in this one. So at the moment, it's L Hedges leading the way from his teammate in a PH Racing 1-2. BC Bond in 3rd. HC Renegade 4th. Megan Bacon in 5th. B McKever in 6th. Speed, Unchained Chief, Mike Honcho, and Stiffy Bone currently last, trying to recover from that race start. Obviously, everyone wants to get into a bit of a rhythm now. Find their tempo and do what they can to just keep it clean and bring this one home. Obviously, you know, as we saw in Lobby B, one small mistake can cost you, and these guys, if they keep it clean, could find themselves jumping Lobby B and possibly even Lobby A guys if they keep their nose clean enough. So, especially for someone like L Hedges, who had a lot of pace early on in this one, and in qualifying got 2 seconds quicker than every other car, he's going to be looking to make moves early here. So, already making a gap on his PH Racing teammate. I'm going to bring it down a little bit now. Quite a loud first lap from me. I'm going to bring it down. Yes, just quiet, calm, and collected is what we are so far. Everyone's starting to find their own little bit of road. A little bit loose there from B McKever. Everyone's starting to find their own little bit of real estate, although these guys down the back still going for it. Mike Honcho found his way past Speed, who's now under threat from Unchained Chief. So in the other PH Racing Porsche. So everyone just fighting for their own little bit of racetrack at the moment. Obviously Speed brand new to this league this week. Put down in Lobby C to see how he goes, and I think he's throwing himself in a bit of in the deep end a bit this week with jumping in for the wet race. We made the same comment about Rusty Boy in Lobby B, you know, first race in the GT3 series, and you're doing it in the wet, so very brave on his part, but doing a great job so far, running down in 9th, and having some clean battles with Unchained Chief as well, who finds himself now up in 8th. Stiffy Bone still rolling around at the back, hoping to find some pace later on in this one. Unchained Chief now, he sets his sights after Mike Honcho. So Unchained Chief probably a little bit more together with these conditions than some of the cars around him. So we'll be looking to make ground on the cars in front and find his way past Mike Honcho on that lovely presented COFR livery. Happening in these early stages. Cars will probably think in the next few laps about starting to pit. You probably want to get about half into this race. Most cars will get about 6 laps out of a tank of fuel. So you'll get about 6 laps in this one, maybe 5 laps if you want to push it to the end and get the undercut. But no, the undercut probably isn't going to be a massive advantage in this one. Probably the overcut will actually be a bigger advantage because you have to take on less fuel. So if you can make the overcut work while still keeping similar pace to those around you and make your fuel last longer, then that will serve you later on in this one. So Mike Honcho and Unchained Chief working well together. Well, I wouldn't say working well together, but they're having a nice clean battle at the moment, which is great to see. Unchained Chief just sitting there. Speed trying to invite himself back into this one as well. And Stiffy Bone, you can see slowly catching up to the cars in front. I'm going to check further up the pack. HC Renegade running on his own in the new team livery for ESR Racing this week. All 3 ESR cars are running that livery this week. Both 2 of the guys in Lobby B and HC Renegade in Lobby C this week running that new livery. Megan Bacon still running in 5th, running quite well. We're going to check in with our leaders. BC Bonds still keeping a fairly close eye on B Purton here, but L Hedges has pulled away. The gap is starting to grow, so you could see the confidence he had in the wet with his qualifying result, and he's putting it on display here with his wet confidence and driving away with this one. So, great result from them. These guys so far. 1-2 for PH Racing, and Unchained Chief putting on a wonderful drive so far. sitting on the back of Mike Honcho at the moment, coming through the final chicane complex now, looking to put a move on him. Everyone's just sort of found their space now. I was just looking at the results of qualifying again to see who's been the biggest movers and shakers so far and bring you those statistics. So everyone seems to have not really changed too much from their starting position. HC Renegade up 1 spot, B Purton up 1 spot. Mike Honcho in 7th is where he started, 7th Unchained Chief, and Stevie Bone, who has now seemed to catch up to the back of this pack, did start from 4th and finds himself down the order. B McKever is probably the biggest mover so far, started from 2nd last, 9th position, finds himself in 6th. Unchained Chief just running off the track there and finds himself now down in 10th, so unfortunate error from him there to move down the order. Oh, an Unchained Chief, he runs wide into, what is that, turn 5, I believe, and will now find himself down in last. An unfortunate mistake from him. Yeah, that is turn 5, just before the forward curve, runs wide, and that is unfortunate from him, running so well in this one so far, and yeah, just an unfortunate mistake. It's so easy to do in the wet here. We're just talking about how well he was doing, and Speed runs wide as well, and that gives Unchained Chief the position back. Speed got onto the gravel into the Dunlop curve and now finds himself down the order as well. So very frustrating for these guys so far. Just a few mistakes here and there, which is not ideal, not what you want at all. Hopefully everyone can find their rhythm. But yes, B McKever up 3 spots, 4 spots actually already in this one. So he's the biggest mover and shaker so far. Will he be able to stay there for the rest of this one? We will find out as the race moves on. But yeah, great result from him so far. He's being hunted down now by Mike Honcho. And oh, he gets loose! B McKever got loose there. And I think, yeah, he did. Just went off the track slightly, and he's going to lose that position to both Mike Honcho and Stiffy Bone. So we're just talking about how well he was doing. Put the commentator's curse on him, and he's ended up down the order. So Mike Honcho moves into 6th, and Stiffy Bone into 7th. So Stiffy Bone working on his comeback now, and hopefully he can stay up there. Oh yes, Bacon also moved up the order as well, moved up 3 spots from where he started, so, or 2 spots actually from where he started, so done well so far for him as well. I hope I don't put the curse on him. But everyone just sort of decided to find their own bit of real estate now and spread out, which is really great for everyone who's racing in the rain, although we see BC Bond on the back of, on the back of Purton. And had the lights flashing, letting him know he was there. But I think this battle may not come to much unless BC Bondi can get the power down earlier. So he has considerably closed up on the PH Racing Porsche in front of him. And a little bit sideways there from B Purton. Very sideways action through the Schumacher Esses. coming towards turn 9, 10, turn 10, towards turn 10, through 10 into 11. And I think the PH Racing car has just found a little bit more grip now, and he has, taking that wider line. Remember, in the wet, the normal racing line isn't always the conventional choice. Sometimes you're better off taking the wider line and using the part of the racetrack that gets used a lot less because there's a bit more grip there in the wet. So through the chicane now, the NGK chicane, into the Coca-Cola curve and turn 15, the last of these corners. And we're coming on to lap 6 now, so we should start to see some pit stops at the end of this one. So L Hedges starting lap 6. And B. Purton, he's going to run a little bit deep into the corner. BZ Bond is going to go side by side with him. What? Oh, they made side by side contact into turn 2. And that's going to put B. Purton back ahead. BZ Bond, he's not going to be done with it yet. A little bit sideways there from Purton. And BZ Bond's going to try and come back at him as they come through turns 4 and 5. Also turns 3 and 4. As we come out of turn 4. Can BC Bond get a better exit? I don't think he can. I think B. Purton's going to hold on to that one. A little bit of side-by-side contact. Not sure if that was a result of aquaplaning there for B. Purton, but there was a bit of side-by-side contact into the second corner through the Mercedes arena. So we'll have to see if there's anything that comes from that one. But it could have just been a little bit of aquaplaning, but it means that B. Purton now pulls away a bit. BC Bond potentially with a bit of damage as a result of that. The damage will fix itself. We're on light damage for this one, but it will obviously slow him down for a little bit and set him back ever so slightly. HC Renegade running out on his own. Stiffy Bone with Macon Bacon. He's ahead of Macon Bacon now, so that's a brilliant move from Stiffy Bone. Found his way past Unchained Chief and Macon Bacon, so a couple of good overtakes. We may as well see if we can catch up those for you. But he finds himself in 5th now. And Macon Bacon's still right behind him. But now it becomes a question of how much fuel saving have you done? How long can you stay out? How much time can you save by staying out longer or coming in early? What is the plan? Are you going to split the race 50-50, or are you going to stay out longer and try and take less fuel towards the end of this one? So Elhead just coming around the final corner now. Is he going to make this his pit stop lap? No, he's going to continue on. So no pit stop for L Hedges this time around. Will B. Burton do the same thing? We'll find out. And I should point out as well, and I don't mean to stereotype, but we've got a Kiwi 1-2 at the moment, and it is, as we've seen the world over, it seems to be that the Kiwis love the rain. They're just naturally quick in the rain, so no surprise that L Hedges and B. Purton are doing strong in this one. Kiwis just have a knack for putting them in wet conditions, and they just find the pace. So a brilliant result from these two so far, leading the way in the PH Racing 1-2, find themselves spread out. BC Bond still in 3rd, trying to recover and catch back up, and then we're following on board with Stiffy Bone, who's pulling away from Macon Bacon now. And Unchained Chief in the 3rd PH Racing Porsche, not too far behind in 7th place. Speed sort of running out on his own here, trying to chase after Unchained Chief. Started from the back in this one, did Speed, so we'll be looking to move up the order. And then Mike Honcho battling with B. McKever. B. McKever trying to catch back up after making a mistake earlier in the piece. So these guys going to battle now and trying to find their way through the pack, up the order, and bring home a good result. So great racing so far by these guys, and they just want to keep it up, continue the racing, and make it good. Make it great for us to watch. Give us something good, boys. Get side by side, get sideways. Well, we're coming on to lap 7 now, so we should start to see some pit stops really soon. So B Purton, BC Bond's just keeping that gap to B Purton at the moment. L Hedges moving towards the final chicane. So final complex, coming into the final complex now. Typically, once you go through this chicane, if you were going to the Nordschleife, you would turn left here, but instead we're going to go right and back out onto the front straight. L Hedges, he's going to stay out another lap, so not in yet for our race leader. A little bit loose through the final chicane for B Purton. Is he going to take this opportunity to come in? No, he's going to stay out. BC Bond, however, is going to pit, so he is the first car to blink and say, I'm coming in the 88 Aston Martin, which is wonderfully presented. HD Renegade is going to follow him. Stiffy Bone coming through the final complex of corners now. What's he going to do? Is he going to stay out? Is he going to come in? What's his plan? He's sticking quite close to that line. He is in as well. What about Macon Bacon? What's he going to do? He is also in. So 90% of cars, well, most cars now choosing to stay, to come in. Speed is going to stay out. Unchained Chief is going to stay out. Mike Honcho hasn't quite made it to the complex where you need to pit yet. So Unchained, BC Bond, I'm curious to see this. Is he going to come out in traffic? No, I think he's just going to get away with it. But a 3-second slowdown for BC Bond. So a 3-second slowdown penalty for BC Bond. Slight cut on the corner there. And that is quite frustrating. Not sure if that must have been on the way into the pit lane that he ended up with that. So Mac and Bacon did come in as well. And is now out. Mike Honcho and B McKever chose to stay out. We're going to stay on board with BC Bond because this will open him up to a move with HC Renegade, who is just behind. So we were told before the race, the direction from the stewards was to serve the slowdown penalty on the left-hand side of the racetrack. I think there might have been a bit of confusion in this lobby. So we'll see where he does serve it. But as always, the cars do ghost, so it shouldn't hopefully affect the cars behind too much if they do have the opportunity to pass. But BC Bond will be very frustrated about that 3-second slowdown penalty. It feels like an age, and he runs deep into the Dunlop curve, and we'll just close that gap even more to HC Renegade behind him. BC Bond, he'll be kicking himself. He try not to overdrive the car here, just try and keep it clean. You don't want to push too hard to try and make up for the mistake. You just want to keep your head down and drive smart, and that's what he's doing now. Beautiful through the Schumacher S's, and as we come down through towards the slowdown zone, he's got beautiful car control now, keeping it nice and clean. It's very treacherous conditions, even on wet tyres. The cars are slipping and sliding all over the place as he enters the slowdown zone. Here we go. So, stays to the left as advised by the stewards. Speeds up, and then he's got HC Renegade right behind him. He's going to go for a move around the outside into the braking zone. BC Bond will cover. They're going to try and go side by side. There's a little bit of contact coming into the S's, into the chicane I should say. BC Bond will come out on top. HC Renegade trying to go side by side in the corner where you probably can't go side by side, and that was B Purton in and L Hedges in as well. I just missed that on the coverage. But they will come out well in front of B Purton now as a result of that slowdown. Unchained Chief finds his way into the pit lane as well for his stop. So Speed will stay out longer. So Speed yet to stop will stay out. Unchained Chief into the pit lane now. You see the rain forming in the pit lane. Will he go for a tyre change or will he just go for fuel? So far everybody's just been going for fuel. You don't really need to change the tyres. Fuel going in for Unchained Chief. Mike Honcho stays out another lap, so making this fuel go on forever. Macon Bacon has stopped. Unchained Chief has stopped. B McKever, has he stopped? Not sure, possibly. These guys may have already stopped. They may have stopped early and we missed it. We'll double check that for you. But Speed finds himself in 5th with a fair gap to Stiffy Bone behind him, who has just stopped that previous lap. So a fair gap. So if he can get away with the fuel load, he might be able to find himself in 5th place. He might have done a great job for Speed, who started last, finds himself up in 5th. He'd be the biggest mover of the race if he can do that. Really strong result. from him. Really don't want to give him the commentator's curse, but he's doing well so far. Mike Honcho also yet to stop, I believe, and B. McKever also yet to stop. So we'll see where those guys spit out after they do in fact stop. They may have already stopped, but I'm not entirely sure if they have or not, so we'll find out. Anyway, we're going to stay on board with Speed, who is yet to stop. So there's Stiffy Bone, and here is Speed. So a fair gap between these two cars at the moment. You can see our two leaders racing away with this one out in front. And PH Racing 1-2, the Kiwi 1-2. Very strong in the wet. And L Hedges, typically, Beeper and L Hedges actually were in Lobby B last week, but due to the sheer numbers that we have in AGT, some weeks we need to shuffle people around, move them up and down, and just put a couple people that may be a bit faster in Lobby C just to make sure that everyone can race each week. And this week they put these boys down there, and they're showing that they definitely have the pace to be up competing in Lobby B. Speed is going to continue to stay out. May have already stopped on lap 3. He's got the P next to his name on lap 3, so he may have already stopped on lap 3. And is running to the end on extremely low fuel. B. McKever, little battle here with Making Bacon into the final corner. He's going to have to try and get a good run out of the exit here. Obviously struggling for grip on this in this Nissan GTR. I was going to say try and get the slipstream. The slipstream doesn't make a massive effect in the wet, considering you've got a massive plume of water coming up behind you as you come along the straight. And he's going to have a look to the inside, nice and late on the brakes. Cuts the corner slightly, and Making Bacon gives him a racing room. Great respect between these two. Clean, beautifully clean racing, I should say. And kept it clean so far. Only 3 laps to go in this one. B. McKever looking to progress further on his 9th place result. This is where he started this race, so he doesn't want to finish here. Unchained Chief down in last, has just pitted on the previous lap, so the staying out longer strategy for him not working the way he would have wanted it to, unfortunately, today. But B. McKever looking for a move on Making Bacon. Where can he find the room to make the move stick? A little bit of maybe a touch through, what is that? That was turn 6 to come down towards the Dunlop curve. Where all the action is at the moment. Mike Honcho chasing down Sticky Bone for 6th as well. So a little bit close between these guys at the moment. Fairly close racing, which is what we like to see. We love to see a bit of close racing. Always makes for great television. B. McKever pushing hard to try and get past Unchained Chief here in this one. I think he's dropped a little bit off the back now. He has. He's fallen slightly off, so we're going to stay on board, but just getting a little bit loose in the beautifully presented Nissan GTR. Running very well. Obviously, had a couple weeks out due to various issues, but it is keen to get back in, get consistent, and get some results. Obviously, we have the Enduro Series coming up, and has said that he wants to have a strong result in this series to set himself up well for the Enduros. So he's running well so far, keeping it clean, nice clean racing. That's what we like to see across all the lobbies in Adrenaline GT. And what all the lobbies are good at is just keeping it clean and racing well together. So falling off the back of Making Bacon now. We'll keep an eye on that for you. But Mike Honcho is putting the pressure on Stiffy Bone with only 2 to go here. So the pressure is mounting for Stiffy Bone in this one. Can he keep Mike Honcho at bay? Making Bacon, could he potentially invite himself into this battle pack with these guys that are battling in front? They want to keep it as clean as possible and make sure that there's no mistakes from here on out, because they don't want to have any unforced errors. Obviously, these guys lapping in the low 20s, so 26s, 27s for these guys. Now, the fast lap of the race belongs to L Hedges with a 22.4. So, well out in front as well. You can see him just pulling away already down heading towards the final chicane, the NGK chicane, down at turn 13 and 14. So already pulling away. Stevie Bone and Mike Honcho still going at it. We're going to have a look at that now. B. McKenna, sorry, I went the wrong way. There's our race leader, L. Hedges. B. Purton. BC Bond running on his own in third. HC Renegade couldn't quite keep up. Speed. A beautiful result from him. Pitted early and found his way all the way up the order. And Stevie Bone, he's being hunted down by Mike Honcho. These guys are really close at the moment. And here we go through the Schumacher S's for Macon Bacon, keeping it on the track, which is really good. That's a very treacherous part of the racetrack, the Schumacher S's. So it's great to see that the cars are holding on through there. The Porsche very strong in the wet. Throughout all the testing we did, we found that the Porsche and the Ferrari are quite strong given the rearward location of their engines, meaning that the car's center of gravity is further towards the rear, which means that the rear-wheel drive car has more weight going into those tyres, giving it more grip on the road, whereas the front engine cars, all the weight is in the front end, which means that those rear tyres are a little bit more floaty, making it a little bit harder to control the car. Hence why drivers like B. McKever are struggling, given that they've got a front engine car and they're trying to hold the power down. So we've got one more lap to go in this one. L. Hedges way out in front. We'll keep an eye on that. But Mike Honcho, I should say. I was looking at the car behind. And Stevie Bone are fairly inseparable right now. He's going to turn one. He's going to close right up to the rear bumper of the Porsche. And he's got one more chance to make a move in this one. So one more chance for the move to stick. And I think Macon Bacon has ended up down the order. I'm not sure what's happened there. We'll try and find out. But Unchained Chief and B. McKever now end up in 8th and 9th. So Macon Bacon going to try hard to catch Unchained Chief in this one if he can. We'll find out what happened there. But yes, here we go. Final lap. So here's our race leader coming down towards, coming through, what's that, turn 11, down towards turn 12. A fair gap to the car behind. I think he's backing off here a little bit, maybe to let his teammate catch up for a form finish in this one. This would cost him overall, but I think they want the PH Racing form finish going nice and slow into the final chicane. B. Purton trying to catch up the best he can. Ella just not wanting to burn too much time overall. He is waiting. He's going to come through the final corner. He's come down to Lobby C this week. He's nailed the wet. He's going to look for the form finish. I don't think he's going to get it the way he wanted to. He's basically going to crawl across the line. B. Purton slides out of the final corner, but he's mastered the wet. L. Hedges is going to win in a PH Racing 1-2 here at the Nurburgring in Lobby C. BC Bond, he's going to come around the final corner. He's driven a wonderful race. He's kept it clean. He's kept the power down where he needed to. And in the Aston Martin, he's going to come across the line to finish third. HC Renegade down in Lobby C this week. He finds himself in 4th position. A wonderful result for him. And on debut in Adrenaline GT Speed, he started last in this one. He was struggling for pace early on, especially in quali, but he's made up for it in the race. He's found himself in 5th position after a wonderful pit strategy meant that he vaulted up the order. He comes home 5th, so Speed 5th. Stevie Mode holds on over Mike Honcho for 6th. B. McKever's going to get 8, and Unchained Chief and Macon Bacon side by side into the final corner. Neither of them want to let this go, but Unchained Chief is going to come out on top in this one, and he's going to get 9. The Macon Bacon comes home 10th. What a race. That was so intense, especially at the end there. We'll run you through the results one more time in this one. So we'll just find my results. So L. Hedges comes home first, form finish with B. Purton in 2nd. BC Bond is 3rd, HC Renegade 4th, Speed in 5th on debut, wonderful result for him. Stiffy Bone 6th, Mike Honcho 7th, B. McKever 8th, Unchained Chief 9th, and Macon Bacon 10th. In terms of my driver of the day, I've got to give it to Speed. He had probably struggled a bit in qualifying with 6.2 seconds off the pace with a 2:27.6. in quali, but he drove a brilliant race, kept himself clean, kept the strategy clean, hit it early, got fuel saved to the end, took advantage of the wet conditions and the grip that Ferrari does have in the wet, being a rear engine car, and got himself a 5th place at the end of this one. So a wonderful result from him. That is all for Lobby C today. We hope you've enjoyed the action. As always, make sure you go and check out the other lobbies for all the action across the Nurburgring. It's been great. Next weekend, we are at the mountain for Bathurst. That's set up to be a cracker. It's going to be absolutely wonderful. Evening race. About 14 laps, I believe, around the mountain. So that's going to be absolutely wonderful. Make sure you tune in for that. Until then, I've been Isaac. Thanks so much for watching, and goodbye.